Start spreading the news. Okay, we ready? That's a go. It's a take. It's a wrap. Once upon a time, I was in America, as I am now, painfully so, and I was in the kitchen of a person's house whom I know, and there was a few people in the kitchen, right? Not yet religious Jews, and on the counter they had one of those electric boxes, like, you know what I'm talking about, like electric with pictures in it and like sound, and the pictures move, and there's like the buttons. What's that thing called again? Right, television. Okay. So there's a story about a guy named Normand de Valle. Normand de Valle. Do you know who that is? Normand de Valle. He's a first-round draft choice. Could have been the first draft choice in the entire draft of the Boston Bruins. 18-year-old phenom. Okay, first-round draft choice, the Boston Bruins, the Bees. Right? The Bees got a good one up there from French Canada. Woo! Yeah. So he's tough. He's tough in front of the net and in the corners. Okay, so. I asked when I teach the guys, like, you know, the guys, like my guys, and the 19-year-old guys in Israel, I asked them, are you jealous of this guy? Would you be jealous of this guy? Right? Of course. Yeah, of course I'm jealous. 18-year-old first-round draft choice in the NHL, right? Without the lockout? Yeah, I'm jealous, right? So then he has a good first season. Second season starts, 9 points in 9 games. If you're not a hockey fan, trust me, that's pretty good, okay? Pretty good. 19-year-old on the Bees in the Garden, 9 points, 9 games. I asked the crowd, are you jealous? What do they say? Yes. Rivka, are you jealous? Just translate to something that you care about over there in Oregon, okay? Hemp manufacturing, like we're like, he's the best hemp manufacturer there is, okay? Something like that. Hacky sacker, right. Okay, so yeah, we're jealous. Then what happened is in the story on the thing, they made it like he got hit. But I looked it up afterwards, and maybe they said this in the show, but it wasn't clear in my recollection. He actually had a congenital problem, a vascular problem, that he had whatever it was, either in the heart area or the head area. He ended up being paraplegic, right? Lower lena, right? So whatever, you know how pro hockey goes, just sweep him off the ice. You know, front office like, it's another draft choice down the drain, right? But meanwhile, Normand de Valle has to go and continue his life. So Normand de Valle goes up back to French Quebec, French Canada, right? The Quebec province, yeah? And what does he do? So he rehabs. And then as time passes, he opens up a camp. It's not really a camp. He opens up a whole institution that's designed to help people who have physical disabilities and mental disabilities. And it gets to a point where he has 3,000 people coming there a year. Not just for the summertime, like year-round. It's open year-round, okay? So they're showing this on the TV, and the people in the kitchen are like, you know, crying a little bit. Then what happens is the Boston Garden shut down. What year was the last year of the old Boston Garden? The old garden? 1996. The old Boston Garden was closed down for the TD, what is it, TD Center? Fleet Bank Center, right.
It was Fleet Bank first.
And then now it's TD Bank?
Yeah.
Right, Fleet, right, I remember Fleet, that I remember. Okay, so they had a whole thing where they called all the old crusty Boston Bruins to come to, you know, to come out on the red carpet, into the red carpet with the bimmer, you know, out in the middle of the ice, whatever, right? So they go out there, all these guys, you know, I don't know their names, you know, whatever, Jerry Cheevers, I don't know, whatever, Bobby Orr, you know, and then all the crowds cheering. Then they call Normand de Valle. So he can stand barely, like he's done enough rehab that he can wobble with his legs. So he's going skating out to the center ice. He has to hold somebody, you know, who's walking him on the red carpet, and he like wobbles out there, and they show the crowd, you know, the Boston Bruins fans, the ones, kill him, kill him! They're all crying, right? Because they all remember Normand de Valle, and they see him, they're crying. Then what happens, all the old bees do a skate around on the ice, and he holds, Ray Bourque's holding his stick like this, and he's going backwards, and Normand de Valle is grabbing onto Ray Bourque's stick and skating around the ice, right? So everybody's crying, like all the hockey players are crying. You know the big goon hockey players? You know this, you ever think of this? Don't think, but you ever think about this? These guys named like Andrew Chuck and Big Chuck and Chuck and Boy Chuck and, you know, all these Chucks. Chuck, what does Chuck mean? You know what Chuck means? It must mean son, no? Well, Owitz means son. Chuck is a suffix in Ukraine, right? All these names have end in Chuck, right? So these guys, 80 years ago, were basically killing Jews. But now at least they're strapping on skates and playing ice hockey. You know what I'm saying? Good thing, huh? You understand? These 6'4", big guys, 80 years ago, what do you think they were doing with people to pass their time? Beating up Jews and pogroms. 6 foot, you know what I'm saying? Ever think of that? Don't think about these things, you know? I'm like, you root for these guys, like his grandfather. Anyway, something to think about. Anyway, so everyone's crying. Everybody in the stadium is crying. They're crying. I look at the people in the kitchen, all crying. They're crying, right? Of course, they're crying. So being a rabbi, I have to like take a rabbi moment. It's a rabbi moment. And I said to everybody, so sometimes you kind of see what's really important in life. And they're like, yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, you do, right? Because they don't want to cry, right? So then I ask people, I tell this like to a big crowd of 19-year-old kids, I say, are you jealous of Norman Levaye now? So I asked the people in the kitchen, do you think that Norman Levaye would have opened up that camp for 3,000 people a year if he hadn't become a paraplegic? And what do they say? What did they say? Of course, no way, man. No way, right? That's what they did, right? So I said, yeah, he would have spent his whole career, his whole life putting 2-inch diameter vulcanized rubber in 4 by 6 foot rectangles. Another one, 4 by 6 foot rectangle. Way to go, guy. And he would show up, maybe if someone else had it, signing autographs, patting the kids on their head, making a little donation and walking away, right? So why am I jealous of Norman Levaye? Not only because he did something good, that's important, but something a little bit deeper, a little bit more, deeper, just a little bit more richer. What am I jealous of? What's there to be jealous of Norman Levaye? Not all at once. What's to be jealous of Norman Levaye? Not just that he did something good for people, something a little bit more, meaty.
He has a legacy.
Okay, it's on the right track. Okay, I'm not going to eternity now. He fulfilled his potential, let's say. He actualized something that he never would have actualized before. So it feels like it's like a completely different level of potential that he actualized. But I'm not jealous of Norman Levaye. Why am I not jealous of Norman Levaye? Why am I not jealous of Norman Levaye? Because he's a French Canadian. Why aren't you jealous of Norman Levaye? Because I don't want a potch to have to fulfill my potential. I don't want that. He had to get a big clap to fulfill his potential. He's lucky. The good Lord gave him a little message, right? Because otherwise he's going to spend his time putting vulcanized rubber in rectangles. Nice, whatever. 3,000 people a year is something a little bit more important, I think. And everybody knows this, right? So I want to fulfill my potential. We all want to fulfill our potential. And that's the main reason to be jealous of anybody, but it's a healthy jealousy because ultimately it motivates you and you don't really want to tear down. Most jealousy, we want to tear down somebody else. But this kind of jealousy, when you see somebody else fulfilling their potential, it's a motivating jealousy. Because you realize, I don't need to tear that guy down, it's not going to help me. He's fulfilling his potential in, microbiology, and I need to fulfill my potential in beer drinking. So it's like two totally different realms, so I'm not jealous of him because I'm not in competition with him and his endeavors. I am very inspired by the fact that he's fulfilling his potential. So I'm jealous of that. But I don't want the clap. I don't want the potch. And Hashem is sitting there waiting for us to fulfill our potential. And he's always trying to make it easy. He's giving us candy. He's giving us presents. He's giving us J-Pulse lasagna. He's trying to make things easy for us. But if we don't quite get it, he's a good coach. Hello? Wenglin, hello? Fulfill your potential already. Hello? I don't want that. So I'm not jealous of Norman Levaye. Because I don't think a person wants to have to get such a clap to fulfill their potential. But I'm jealous of the potential, right? And everybody knows what's important. Everybody knows that's so much more important than putting pucks in. But who pays attention to this, right? What are you thinking? Are you thinking or are you sinking? We know this. What are we thinking about? Right? And it's very important to understand something. Life, believe it or not, is a long game. I mean, it's not as long as 13.75 billion years, but it's a long game, right? And this is like a very important insight. I met a guy in Israel when he was on one of these summer trips, and he was 21 years old. Then last summer, not this past, like a year and a half ago summer, he came back for a visit to Israel, brought a friend of his from America, and now he's 32 years old. Okay, so 11 years in the interim, right? So he and his friend and I went out to lunch, kosher of course, and I started schmoozing with them, good guys, right? It's like, come on guys, okay, enough already. When are you guys going to get married? Rabbi, we're getting there, whatever, we're going to get there. I'm like, guys, come on, are you dating? Yeah, sure. Jewish girls? Rabbi, of course, Jewish girls, of course. When are you going to get married? So his friend starts chiming, I don't know, Rabbi, I got to make my first million, and then I'll get married. When's that going to be? Maybe 35. He's like, I think kind of like funny, So I said to him, I'll tell you, let's do like this. Let's say that you get married and you have your first son when you're 35 years old. So how old will you be at your first son's bris? How old will he be at his first son's bris? 35 and 8 days, right, okay? Then I ask him, how old will you be at your first son's bar mitzvah?
48.
Carry the one, 48, right? So I said to him, like, at 48, your cartilage is like almost gone up there. You know what I'm saying? Like even Brett Favre is gone by 48, It's like, you can't have a catch with your 13-year-old son when you're 48 years old. Your knees are going, can't hit fungals on my back. 48 years old, your first son is 13 years old. I said, now let's say your son follows in his dad's footsteps and gets married and has his first son, when he himself is 35. How old will you be at your first grandson's bris? 70 and 8 days, right? Grandpa's bringing the baby, spot him. Grandpa's holding the baby, spot him, right? Keep Grandpa's hand away from the scalpel. Keep his hand away from the scalpel. It shakes a little bit, right? 70 years old, his first grandson's bris, right? How old will he be at his first grandson's bar mitzvah? 83. Wave hi to Grandpa. Grandpa's going to come in and do the ceremonial first challah. Wheel Grandpa in. Hi, Grandpa. He's like, I could do that. He's saying, I could do that. Yeah, I got that big blue kippah on. I could do that. Hi, Grandpa. He can move his hand out of the way. Just cut the challah, Grandpa. Very good. Bye, Grandpa. Wave goodbye to Grandpa. Bye. Right? Wheel him out. 83 years old at his first grandson's bar mitzvah because of a decision that he made when he was 21 years old. Things we do now have long impact. We don't realize that. We can't imagine ourselves being 90 years old. Can't even fathom it, right? And you have to check, you say to yourself, I'm not going to be 90. I'm not going to be like that guy who's bent over, like my finger's crooked. Not me, you spend the rest of your life straightening your fingers, straightening them out. It happens. I'm watching it, it happens, right? My cartilage isn't going to get big. Your cartilage keeps growing. That's why old people like big noses and big ears and big eyebrows. They keep growing. Not mine, not me, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen, right? And then when you see an old person, you have to remind yourself, hey, wait a second, he used to run downstairs and fool around with the guys. It can't be, it's the same person? Yeah. Life is a continuum. So things we do now have long-term impact. What you're thinking now, are you thinking or are you sinking, right? That guy made a decision. In my community, how old are they when you have your first grandson? 40. Catch up, Wenglin, you're a little bit behind. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that out loud? Right? 40, your first grandson, their grandparents are 40. 39 even. It's amazing. So, the Baal Shem Tov said that the world is filled with great lights and spiritual wonders, but the small hand blocks it. What does that mean, a small hand blocks it? That's something like on Reb JP's iPhone, what's a small hand, right? So Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, Baal Shem's great-grandson, don't get that wrong, Wenglin, don't get that wrong, explains, based on the Gemara in Erevin, that says that the Torah is 3,200 times as big as the world. The Torah is 3,200 times as big as the world, whatever that means, but the world can block the Torah. How can the world block the Torah? How can it be that the Torah, something that's 1/3200th of something else, can block that which is that much bigger than, right? What's the answer, obviously? How can something 1/3200th the size of something really big block it? How can that be? We'll be right back after this commercial break, right? Right, if what? If, right here. So Rabbi Nachman says, you can have a huge big mountain, if you take a little penny and put it like that, can't see the mountain, right? So what are we focusing on? What are you thinking, right? If you put the gashmias, the material world right in front of your face, block all of that reality talked about before, all of God's thoughts. Bang, like this. One little coin like that can miss everything. That's what the Baal Shem Tov says. It was Rabbi Nachum Chaim Shlita. He said, if you take a person now, and you just go like that, like with your fingernail, you go like this, what happens to you? Nothing. It's a little scratch, nothing. But if you do the equivalent to a zygote, what happens? It destroys the whole thing. Things at the beginning in their pristine state have to be treated with incredible amount of fragility and care, because even a little thing can have long impact. Like that kid who at 21 made a decision not to get married. So right now you're standing sort of at the beginning of your life. You're young, the rest of your life. right? So appreciate that you're at a pristine state. So you have to treat it with incredible amount of care and preciousness, and think and not sink. And make sure to be able to attach yourself to what's important, and be able to lead yourself and your family and others to the same things and bring out your full potential. And we should see a day when everybody's actualizing their potential. And with the coming of the Messiah, Amen.